Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a massive topic, demystifying AWS container orchestration. We're going to trace the exact path from the cloud all the way down to your local data center. I know, navigating this massive ecosystem of AWS deployment options can feel like a maze, right? So we're just going to break it all down visually, step by step. Let's just dive right into the ultimate architectural headache. How on earth do you manage an application that literally needs to run everywhere at once? You know the drill. You want that cloud-like speed and consistency, but you're staring down this totally fragmented landscape of different physical locations and, frankly, completely different hardware setups. Well, that right there is exactly what modern orchestration tools were built to solve. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the infrastructure lifecycle, then move into deploying with Amazon ECS, before exploring the Amazon EKS landscape. After that, we'll compare cloud versus data center responsibilities, and finally wrap up with automating the whole shebang using Image Builder. Let's get to it. All right, first up, the infrastructure lifecycle. Honestly, this is the core heartbeat of everything we do in ops. You already know that any healthy infrastructure lifecycle essentially boils down to 4 steps: provision, configure, deploy, and scale. It really doesn't matter if you're stuck maintaining a legacy data center or if you're living on the bleeding edge of the cloud. This operational heartbeat, it's absolutely constant. But let's zoom in on step 3 for a second, the deploy phase. Look, we all know what it means to update application components, but actually managing that transition from an old version to a new one manually, it is so incredibly risky and time-consuming. And this phase is the exact friction point where container orchestration engines step in. They literally take that entire manual transition burden right off your plate. Okay, moving on to deploying with Amazon ECS and how it really bridges the deployment gap. What's great about ECS is that it establishes this beautifully clean separation of duties. The boundary is crystal clear. Your application infrastructure, things like your ECR repositories, configurations, your load balancers, all of that is actually provisioned and managed completely outside of your ECS deployment. ECS has one highly focused job, just managing the deployment of those containers as tasks. That's it. And the kicker? ECS doesn't just live in the cloud anymore. The bridge between your local data center and the AWS cloud is actually built using 2 specific agents, the ECS agent and the Systems Manager, or SSM agent. By running these locally, right alongside your containers, ECS effectively extends its orchestration reach straight into your physical building, kind of like a remote control for your on-prem containers. Now, let's pivot a bit and look at the Amazon EKS landscape, because AWS gives you quite the menu of options here. If you're in the Kubernetes camp, AWS offers 2 very distinct flavors for running it outside a standard cloud region. First up is Amazon EKS Distro. Think of this as a distribution of the exact same open-source Kubernetes software that EKS deploys in the cloud, so it gives you that incredible open-source freedom. On the flip side, you've got Amazon EKS on AWS Outposts. This one literally brings native AWS services, infrastructure, and operating models directly inside your own on-premises facilities. And if you do go the Outposts route, it's super flexible. You can run what they call extended clusters. I like to think of this as splitting the brain and the muscle. The brain, meaning the control plane, runs up in the AWS region, while the muscle, your nodes, run locally on your hardware. But hey, if you need absolutely everything under your own roof for, say, strict compliance reasons, you can just choose local clusters. That keeps both the control plane and your nodes entirely on premises. So let's look at how this physical location actually changes who does what. It's time to compare cloud versus data center responsibilities. When you actually look at the physical realities of these deployment locations side by side, the operational shift is pretty stark. I mean, if you deploy in the AWS cloud, the hardware is obviously AWS supplied. They rack it, they stack it, they pay the electric bill. But the moment you deploy to your own data center, even if you're using fancy AWS orchestration tools, the hardware is supplied by you. You are instantly back to being on the hook for physical servers, power outages, and, yes, broken air conditioning. Yet despite all those physical differences, your shared EKS dependencies, they basically never change. Regardless of your geographical setup, you're always going to need to think about load balancers, and you absolutely have to have compute resources, or workers. And thankfully, EKS fully supports both Windows and Linux for these workers across the board, so you're covered there. Finally, let's talk about automating with Image Builder to streamline those deployment pipelines. To really scale this without burning out your team, you need tools like EC2 Image Builder. First off, it offers simplified, super flexible image creation, whether you're targeting EC2, containers, or on-premises servers. Second, it gives you fully automated pipelines. They handle the heavy lifting of building and testing just to ensure you stay compliant. And third, you get seamless native integration straight into AWS services like ECR and EKS. Basically, by automating all that grunt work, your team can finally stop manually prepping servers and get back to actual application development. Which brings us to a really important question. With the power to orchestrate seamlessly from the cloud straight down to your local data center, how much of your infrastructure lifecycle is actually still holding you back manually? The tools to automate, scale, and completely bridge these environments, they literally exist right now. So maybe it's time to reevaluate those pipelines and eliminate those manual bottlenecks for good. Thanks so much for joining me today on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you next time.